to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, folks, thank you for coming. This is our budget meeting set here for November 10th. We were going, I'm sorry, not November 10th, obviously, but the 15th at 10 a.m. Running a little bit late, but keep up with that. So let's start. We're going to start with going over budgets. Let's look at Office of the Aging and moving those folks up.
Page 110, budget. Should note that, Mr. Chairman, due to the rescheduling of the committees, yesterday, Finance and Personnel adopted the tentative budget, or adopted the draft as the tentative budget, based on theirs and prior committee changes. Since this committee didn't meet until after this, any changes in budgets from this committee will be converted to a floor motion for the legislature on December. Because we can't change that. Tentative can only be changed after the public hearing.
All right, folks, need a second.
Second.
Okay, do we have any questions for Sarah?
Yeah, I'd like to just say, it shows a vacancy right now on the page 110 for an aging services technician that we will be filling that position. That is a New York Connect primarily responsible person. They also do the supervisory review for our applications. They do the registering and scheduling of rides for GoGo grandparent as well. So that's a very integral position that we will filling. It's just we we have done interviews and we're getting ready to do the second interview for that position. And the other items I wanted to discuss, the meals program. It's kind of hard to see it in here because there's a couple of different funding sources that cover the meals program. Last year, we divided our budget to have project lines for the grants that we received. So meals, we pay for the meals program at a Title 3C, which is federal funding, WIN, which is wellness and nutrition state funding, smattering of other smaller grants that we receive go towards the meals program as well. But you do see them highlighted here in the green. The major programs that cover them are the 3C and WIN, those project lines. We went in for our request for 2 meals per day for the home delivered meals program, because that would be our wish to have it fully funded, continue on the way it is. We had a tentative, our first RFP that went out for the nutrition program, and we're utilizing that amount, that dollar figure for our budget. A second RFP has gone out, which will be coming back in for the deadline for it is the 17th. We're hoping that the price per meal will go down, not go up, but that is something that is a possibility. But we'll be reviewing those proposals and moving forward with that. But the meals program, it is for 2 home delivered meals daily, Monday through Friday. Also includes those who have been assessed and need a weekend meal. They would be receiving 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday meals, so an additional 4 meals per week. And that also includes our 6, 7 congregate meal sites when we add our Oswego site into it. They get 1 meal right off for their hot daily meal at the site. And those who need an evening meal can also get an evening meal, a take-home evening meal. There's an assessment, a little self-survey that they do in order to, that we review to determine whether they can get that second meal. But it does overall from 2025 to 2026, the cost per meal that is in there is almost $2 more per meal, which brings our budget up. You see our increase, and that's all home delivered meals program, which brings our budget up higher, a lot higher than it was in 2025, moving into 2026.
Just clarification, the budget numbers that are in the tentative are based on the results of the first RFP, which has been rejected. We are sending out another RFP, so by the 11th of December, so we may have changes to those numbers based on that.
Correct.
Right.
Yes, correct. Is there any questions on the nutrition services or meals program as they're presented?
I'd just like to say I'm happy to think that Oswego County is going to be able to provide 2 meals a day. I know the surrounding counties, not all, so.
I think it's a terrific thing, and the people that we serve as well. And I couldn't be happier that you agree with me. We did present to our advisory council options in case we were presented that we had to make a change. And their option was to reduce it to 1 so that everybody who needed a meal would at least get that 1 meal. It wasn't the favored option, but if we had to make a change to bring our budget down, that was the option that they chose, as opposed to starting a wait list and denying people that maybe discharged from the hospital saying you couldn't get a meal because we didn't have it in our budget. I don't think that's the best scenario that we could have was for us to continue on the program the way it is, and I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, there. I have another question. I think we need to do that.
Well, the question on meals, that's fine. I did want to make one other. So the SHINE program, which is our senior SNAP Ed, that was a reduction that came out from federal funding that we were not to get it moving forward. But the state, with all the SHINE programs across the state, the other counties that had it, there was some money that was returned. The state is taking that money in, and they're going to extend the SHINE program. I've been asked if we would like to continue with that, and I said if we are provided funding, we will continue it as long as it's not a cost to the county. So tentatively, we may be getting $92,000 to continue that program into the end of September 2026. But since I haven't received that number, it'll probably be a budget modification after the first of the year. As soon as I receive that MGA regarding that.
Will those move into the lines that you already have for that?
Correct, yes, the expenditure and revenue line that's in there already, with nothing showing right now.
Can you, on the page 112, there's a line that's got in 2024, it looks like 2,065,000, then it went down to 5,300. What was that?
That was the meals program. We used to have,
There are different functions.
right, we had it under the general other supplies and expenses line. And then we divided it out into actually the revenue for the grant lines that we received the funding for.
Yeah. Anybody else have any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. If it's okay, can I?
Yes, Chief.
Okay, thank you. News Channel 9 is coming in to do a news story on our Santa for Seniors program, so I'm going to go back over there to.
All right, moving back up to the top, we have some line items from the page. I think it's 2. We'll start with Oswego Industries. That item we've done 85,000 last year and they're keeping it the same this year. Any questions on that program? That's for us, everybody understand what it is and what that funding is being used for? Okay. Make a motion though to open up.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any questions for this one, folks? Okay, all in favor? Aye. No opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. So we'll just finish this quick. Early Childhood Alliance. This is also on page 2. Let's open this up for discussion. First and second. Okay, do we have anyone who wants to talk about it?
Hi everybody, I'm Sydney Carter. I'm the coordinator of the Oswego County Early Childhood Alliance at ICP. We have several different initiatives aimed at supporting families with children ages 0 to 5. We have Oswego County Help Me Grow, which provides families with referrals to resources and services for anything that they could need for their young child, from finding childcare, transportation, food, diapers. We've had families call for swimming lessons and dance lessons before. Anything that a parent in the county could be looking for their young child, we can help connect them with that. We have worked a lot on our resource and service directory and updating 211 so that all of those resources that are available in the county are up to date in the 211 database as well. Through Help Me Grow, we also provide developmental screenings using the Ages and Stages questionnaire. So we do the ASQ3, which focuses on children's physical and general development, and then the SE2 focuses on their social emotional development. We have 551 families that we've connected to local resources, 845 children total in our STAR database, which is what we use to track our referrals and our screenings. We've done 768 developmental screenings, as well as more than 2,500 that have been done by the Canucks Care sites. The data from that, I can share, it breaks it down between communication skills, fine motor skills, gross motor skills, personal, social, the different areas of the child's development. But they range from children expressing concern, about 1/3 to a half of those children. So 36.4% express concern in the communication area, 42.9% show concern in the fine motor area, 36.7% of children show concern in the personal social area. So we really work with families to give them additional tips and activities to enhance their child's development at home. When we were building out our resource and service directory for Help Me Grow, we identified that there was no diaper bank or resources for diapers for families in Oswego County. We wrote for funding and launched the Oswego County Diaper Bank in June of last year. We've given out over 31,000 diapers to 636 children in the county. We've received over 26,000 diapers through donations, and we partner with all of the Canucks Care sites so that families can access those diapers in the areas of the county, if they can't reach the city of Oswego. We also have Talking is Teaching, which is an early literacy campaign that was founded by the Clinton Foundation, and it promotes parents talking, reading, and singing to their children from birth to enhance their early literacy skills. The materials focus a lot on everyday activities, so how to start conversations with your child while you're grocery shopping or making dinner or playing outside. We've also launched a parent advisory council and a community advisory council to hear from different community organizations and parents that are raising children in the county, so that their feedback can steer the priorities of the Early Childhood Alliance. We have received funding for our different initiatives. As far as Oswego County Help Me Grow receives state funding and is currently funded through Health Foundation for Western and Central New York. Our diaper bank received funding through an Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Health and Wellness Award and a grant from the Shinneman Foundation. We received $4,500 from the Oswego County Community Foundation for our Talk, Read, Sing initiative, and $5,000 through the New York State Parenting Education Partnership for the community cafe model, which is what we use to launch our parent advisory councils.
Any questions?
Yeah, that's 5,465,500
Yes.
ECA.
Yep.
Now, do you work with, there's a company, a entity down in, I believe it's Liberty Street here in this town. Deals with,
The Family Resource Center?
yeah, there you go.
Yes, yep, yeah, so we refer families to them, and they refer families to us as well if they need help with children's development. That's a good resource that we use because parents can, they
You gotta slow down, talk too
Oh,
fast.
sorry.
You're gonna stop this right now. You gotta slow down. I don't need an officer
Sorry,
here.
okay.
Just listen slow.
Well, that's good. If you want to come to this committee, I listen slow.
Okay, all
There we
right,
go.
I'll slow down. So at the Family Resource Center, parents can kind of go there and express what they need as far as their role as a parent, and the Family Resource Center will like customize trainings for them or classes or courses so that they can learn more about what they need. And when families take those courses, they earn, it's like a form of money that the Family Resource Center gives the parents, so parents can use them to buy baby supplies in their little boutique that they have. So if they need food or diapers or a crib or something like that, they can take the classes at the Family Resource Center, and then they can use the money that they receive from taking that class to buy items for their baby.
Yeah, because they provide diapers and things to the station. I've been to several of their funding events.
Yep, they do pre-pregnancy testing and all of that. So that's a
Yes.
resource for families.
You still need another 75,000 for this?
So the funding, the 75,000 that we're asking for is to sustain the coordinator position. We have funding for the specific initiatives, but we don't have funding to support the overhead of the position.
And that's through,
Currently, it's funded through an ARPA grant that we received in 2023.
Just as a bit of history, so you know, comes from, as you recall, Oswego County a few years ago, it was marked by an anti-poverty task force as a result of a study. That study showed that there was no coordination or integration of services for children from the ages of birth to 5. Everything seems to start at 5. Randy Kaprowski's here as the executive director. They stepped up to create this program to fill that gap in our services.
how many families do you service a year? Give or take.
We have 845 children in our system so far, and that is since we launched in May of last year.
What's that compared to the year before?
No thanks.
It's just launched.
Just launched this year.
For our Help Me Grow, there's a Help Me Grow national model. We launched our system last May, but the Help Me Grow national model has 4 core components to it, and typically it takes new systems to like 3 years to reach full implementation of all 4 core components, and we reached full implementation of all 4 core components in less than a year.
I also would like to add that as this grows, there's going to be more information for us to digest as they find out how these kids are doing as they're going up through. So this program is just starting. It's something we need. I think it's great for these young children, pre-K, that they have help coming up. It really is needed badly. It can only get better. You know,
Well,
without the help.
my question, the reason I bring that is because Liberty, this place on Liberty Street, and I told me the name, I can't remember what it's. So it's through a religious organization, actually, which is neither here nor there. They do a lot of this work. This is what they do.
Correct.
Now, I know, I understand it sits on the tip of the county and all that kind of stuff. Does this reach up into like Redfield and, up in that corner of the county, or?
Yeah, so we recently started hosting books, balls, and blocks, which are developmental screening events. So we bring those events to the libraries or different community centers around the county so that parents could come in. Children can participate in fine motor and gross motor activities and work on that skill building while we talk to the parents about their child's development and concerns that they might have and complete a developmental screening with them to give us and the parents a better idea of where their child is at with their development, and we can send them home with activities and tips and things that they can do at home to enhance their child's development, whether they are on waiting list for early intervention or they might not qualify for early intervention, or maybe the parent's not ready to take that step yet. But our early intervention providers, there's a long wait list. A lot of children will age out of early intervention before they ever see a service provider.
What do we do with towns like Constantia doesn't have a library? How do we reach out from there?
We are working with the school districts. Yeah.
So between our partnerships with NextCare, our partnerships with the school district, our partnerships with the library. So we're creating that coordinated system with all the other entities and providers that are out there. So whether it's a family resource center, whether it's OCO, whoever's out there serving the families, they have their niche, right? They have something particular they're working with or a certain population they're working with. We're working to coordinate all of them together. So we are covering all sectors of the county and reaching out into those rural parts where maybe they have a lack of access to some of the things that might be right here in the city of Oswego or right in the city of Fulton.
Our leadership team has more than representatives from more than 50 different community organizations on it, including the Family Resource Center.
I was going to say that I'm actually part of their leadership team too, and the Youth Bureau through state aid are going to be funding them as well this year, so we're another resource they can use to work with. And I've talked with, Sydney with, when we speak of the North Country, if we could use Camp Kirby for anything, let me know. That could be a base for diaper storage or a meeting place or something to that matter, that we could do that, collaborating with how being part of that. So.
Yeah, as long as we're reaching out to those areas, because I mean, the North Country is I lived up there, and it's real, so I get that.
Yeah,
And we have to reach out there because there is a lot of young children up there.
Absolutely.
Let's face it, the educational system's a little bit different up there than it's here.
Yeah.
Not saying worse or better, I'm just saying it's different.
Yeah, we try and find out any information that we can between any churches, food pantries, or anything that there is up there to see what they have, and then refer the families up to them. We also attend the Stop Plus events that they do at the different school districts and set up a table to give families more information and try to connect them to resources. There are some programs that we partner with that deliver things out to those areas of the county. So if they need diapers or food or hygiene products, then we can call the cafeterias, for example, and say that we have a family with a young child up in Constantia that needs this. Would you be able to use one of our staff members to go and deliver to them?
Anything else? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next on our list, that same group on that page is going to be Imagination Library, Oswego County. That is, I think we're going to hear to speak on that. We did fund this last year with a total amount of 48.3, and we did get an idea. We do know from their reports and what they've been giving us is that this really has helped kids that are, again, pre-K and coming up with their reading. It's a free program for these kids out there, and it's part of the Oswego County Anti-Poverty Task Force group that put this up, that requested this to come here, and they have. I think they run that program. Very good program. We have any, I think a motion to open up for questions.
So
A second. Okay, can we have some questions?
is this ILOC?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
They're acting.
38.3.
It's like reading the Bible.
As you said, Brian, you're gonna have a glossary of all the project codes in the tentative budget.
Pardon me?
You're gonna have a glossary of all these project codes by department in your tentative budget this year. So it'll be great. That's 12 up for you. Just finished it this morning.
This is for books and all that kind of good stuff.
Correct. So I'm on this committee as well. If there's any questions I can answer, I will. I can tell you that it's very beneficial. It's growing. The numbers served continues to grow. We have, with state aid, have invested in this program as well. We are seeing, starting to see some benefits from just what this program offers. You can't see the benefits immediately, so you have to see track it from when kids start reading or you're getting the books. But I think it's a fantastic program. We're definitely affiliated with it for our office.
Yep, this is for all children. It's introduced blocked with schools, isn't it?
The schools, hospitals, doctor's offices, health department, we advertise it. Do you advertise it at camp? Sometimes camp outs? It's a side maybe, but getting families to sign up to receive the free books.
Yeah, so is there any federal funding or state funding for this at all?
Yeah, they receive funding outside of just what we flag or what is there. But, for example, the $48,300 has covered the cost of approximately 20,730 books. And that will run, basically get them from January through July. So that alone will not get them through the year. So they do have to depend on receiving outside funding from different groups or different, whether it's federal or state.
This is part of that Dollywood Foundation that it was started years ago when she started kids are early child kids to start reading and developing before they made it to school, and that's what this is here.
No, it sounds like we've got a good programs on here. Again, it's the accessibility of certain parts of our county.
It's
Again, it
available.
goes back to camp service.
Right.
Here we have all this acreage, facilities to meet these.
But these books are mailed to.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
text
You mail
on that
direct.
too.
Yeah. So the only negative side, if there is one, is people, they got to make sure they forward their address. But other than that, the books are delivered through the mail. So whether you don't have transportation now, as long as you're able to receive mail, you can receive books.
So it's completely free. I can speak on that being a mother. In the hospital, they give you paperwork for it that you fill out. You can even fill it out online. And children receive books from birth until they're 4 years and 11 months old. That's the last book that they receive. So it gets mailed home every single month.
So they get them up until basically when they go to
Till 5,
kindergarten.
right? Yeah, right
The
before their
last,
5th
the last
birthday.
book they receive is off the kindergarten. I think.
Yeah. And the first book is The Little Engine That Could. I think that's part of Dolly Parton's thing. So they can buy books at a discounted rate being a part of Imagination Library.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Thank you, Brittany. Okay, let's move on to veterans. That's on page, whatever, 109. Just to open up for discussion. A second. Okay. Why don't you go over your budget with us a little bit, so we know?
Well, the budget hasn't changed from last year, minus I moved some money around, different line items that, for our office. The amount, other than the payroll and the benefits, everything's pretty much the same.
Can you speak to what you spoke to the other day at our meeting for this month in terms of your goals? From the office?
The Dwyer,
Yes, can you explain that a little bit?
yeah, so the Dwyer program is money that is given to the office of High, and they use that money to, it was used for an outside agency. The purpose of the Dwyer program is to try to help prevent veteran suicide. The program is designed where there are specific stipulations that you have to abide by, but at the same time, it gives each county the freedom to adjust it to where it fits that county the best. And we came to the determination that the program we weren't using wasn't doing that. So they approached and asked if I would take it on so that we could bring it more into the county, and I agreed. I said yes. So that's going to be a modification and stuff that's going to happen later. The goal is to hire a peer mentor, and that peer mentor's only focus will be Dwyer. They'll work on the Dwyer program. They'll work on all the different things that we're going to set up for, whether it be, things for veterans, where it's free for the veterans. We're going to expand it as much as we can with the funding that we have. I plan on moving into the, where the election board used to be, in the building here in Oswego. And we're gonna set up a recreational center, which somewhere veterans, because that's the point, is to get veterans together. It's not to bring in a counselor, it's to get veterans together so they can talk to each other about what they've been through. And they can help each other through this process of coming out of the military, or, just sharing their experiences. We'll be there to assist them if they do need mental health. We're going to bring people in to discuss that with them. The peer mentor, that's going to be their main focus, is getting those people in. So that's the rec center. We're going to have movie nights, gaming, that sort of stuff. The VA has a gaming program they do that brings veterans from all over the world together online. And they play their video games and they talk about their experiences and stuff. We plan on having a wellness center, which is going to have a few exercise equipment type things. It's more for fitness and relaxation. We're going to try to bring in some yoga instructors or Reiki, whatever the veterans decide that they want to do, whatever works best for them. And then we're going to create a business center. The business center is just a couple computers with internet access. They have a printer and a scanner. And that way they can come in and do applications, they can fill out resumes, we can assist them. The VA is going towards this VA.gov online platform, and a lot of especially the older veterans, have a lot of trouble just accessing that. They can come and we can sit down with them, walk them through the registration portion of it, get them access to that VA.gov. Once they have access to that, they can schedule appointments, they can message their care teams, they can order prescriptions, refill prescriptions, and they can get all the different letters, whether it be compensation and they can even file claims through there if there's a claim that they want to file. Or they can come in and do an intent, which locks in that day, and then come to us and we can help them put the claim together. So that's what I would like to do with that building. In that building will be a peer mentor and a BSO, Veteran Service Officer. It's a Fulton building. I want to keep that and make pretty much a smaller version of the Oswego. The Fulton building will have the rec center and the business center. Just won't have the fitness portion there. And there eventually will be 2 people in that one as well. First year, peer mentor's main focus is just going to be setting the program up. And there's a lot of stuff we're going to have to order. A lot of things are going to have to be done to the building to get it ready. And they can start planning events, scheduling things for 2027. And then come 2027, when the majority of the expense is already taken care of, I would like to bring in an assistant for that peer mentor. Because the plan is these events can't be 8 to 5. They can't be Monday through Friday. We have to have these events on Friday nights, Saturdays. So I want them to have that flexibility to work those days, to be able to come in on a Saturday and have a barbecue or have a Sunday football thing that they can do. So that's the goal. That's the dream.
Which is good to have, because I'll tell you, I was in Rochester over the weekend with my daughter doing a learn to swim program, and we went to a community center where they had a pool, small shallow pool plus a swimming pool, and in that building there were several other community different areas, and one of them was for veterans. They had the whole thing set up just as you described. They had guys doing puzzles, they had people in on the computer, and it wasn't run by anyone from your staff, but they had people there. Well, it was a community-run center, so it was run by folks that might be from, it was a rec department, I'm not sure. But it was really a great center for people. That's one thing we need to look towards in Oswego County, is moving towards that type of situation. Community centers for everybody, not just.
I've thought about the having volunteers that can come in. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, because of making sure that things are taken care of the way they should be. But that way, a volunteer can go in on Saturday and have one guy that goes in from 10 to noon and another guy something at 4 or something. So that way that market stays open all day for anybody to come in and do anything. The VSO offices though have to be secured because of confidentiality and stuff like that. But the pyramids will have they'll be able to work out of that if they want, and then we can make sure that the volunteers have access to anything through the pyramid post office.
You know, and I can see that, I get to see that coming to fruition down the road, just because, you know, it is something that's gonna be needed for everyone. It's great thoughts, great to hear. Any other questions for veterans?
Yeah, Mike. When you get pain in your ear. One thing about this is what I see. And I cover a couple of these counties a lot, because. Rural areas, again, and I talk a lot about that because we have a lot of problems in rural areas and we don't service that. Again, everything you're focusing on is in Oswego, which is true. There's a lot of people here. However, if you go in rural areas, a lot of places, many young people, the only way they can get the hell out of there is getting the service. And that's a fact of life. That's the only way they get out. And I can take you for a ride up through 69 and up through that part of the county, even up in the corner of our county, on the Morgan County, Annville, and like that, which is way on the corner of our county. Every one of these small little areas, Albion, like that, have these, and they're nice. Matter of fact, I'm going to get an accent someday because I read the damn things so I can drive through them. Are these flags with the veterans like that? You got a lot of veterans in those extreme areas. Those kids, because they start out most of them as kids, those kids, they don't get the exposure that you get into a larger city. These kids don't know how to handle a lot of things, and that's a problem. And they have difficulty. They have PTSD that been overseas and like that. And then I'm familiar with it because I have a grandson that's had 2 tours in Afghanistan. He's still not right. But the thing is this, we've got to make sure we're serving that area. Whatever we have to do. So if it's, again, an office somewhere, whatever it takes, we have to make sure we draw those people in. Because you get up in the APW school district or Sandy Creek school district, up in that areas, Oswego's like on the end of the earth. It is. So just keep in mind, I want to serve them all. They have problems.
And I always keep that in mind. I mean, that's something I bring up all the time is, you know, the Costantia, the APW, all those people that are way out in the open, which is why we started the Class I, or reopened the Class I office. I can't take credit for starting that, but one of the things I have done to try to help with that is I talk to all the Legion and VFWs, and we do information sessions in their Legion, in their VFW. Those veterans can come and they can ask any question they want about benefits. We can go over how to apply for benefits. I did one, I've only ever done one though. It was in Central Square, and it was probably 3 hours that I sat there with 10 veterans just answering questions. Nobody has contacted me. Said, hey, on this day, because I told them I'll come on Saturday, I'll come on Sunday, I don't care what day, I will make sure somebody is there, and they're just not taking advantage of it. So I have to come up with a different way to get out to those people. So.
Anything else? Yep, whatever.
I appreciate what you're doing, because Mr. Klein talks about the rural area, Redfield, there's 8 boys in the family, and 7 of them serve Navy, Air Force, and Army. So there's young soldiers, old soldiers now, that serve that community. I appreciate what you're doing. I know you've been in Williamstown. You're doing a fantastic job. I appreciate what you're doing.
I appreciate that. As a matter of fact, last meeting we talked about Tom and Towers. I contacted them. They actually contacted me back. they're building a veteran village in Buffalo. So I asked, how do they select where these locations are at? And so she sent me information on that. It's demographics, location, and that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna look and go through everything that they require and see if, I mean, I don't think you can request them to build one, but if we put a budget there, maybe they'll look at Syracuse area, because you talked about how you don't take care of our homeless veterans. And that's what these veteran centers are for. They'll either build a new building or they'll take a hotel and it's only veterans that live there. Nobody else can live in that building except the veteran. And the first floor, the one that I know I read about, has offices for those veterans. They have a VSO, they have someone to help them with health care, they have all these different community things down there that can assist these veterans. And your point, a lot of the veterans, when they come back, they don't want to live in the city. The ones that live in the city because they have to. A lot of them prefer to be out away from people. So there's a lot of veterans that are out in the communities. And it is a hassle, it is a pain trying to figure out how do we get these people, how do we contact them. And we travel, we'll go to their house if they want. It's just getting that information out there. We're working on it. We'll figure it out eventually. Even if I gotta buy a bus. So.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Budget. Okay, next up is going to be Youth Bureau.
Youth Bureau is both Youth Bureau and Recreation. Recreation starts on page 114.
Okay, motion to upper discussions. So moved. Second. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go through my sheet here. So Parks and Rec specifically, with our Parks and Rec, we have Camp Isles, Camp Derby, Legends Fields, Independence Trail. We are, a growing, our whole infrastructure continues to grow. You have the acquisition of the Mount property this past year and expansion that we're doing pretty much in all the facilities. We are offering more than we ever had and are serving more with what we're working with. I have a small staff, a great working staff that collaborate together. The three I brought with me can answer any questions for you. They're out in the field almost all the time doing different things. And with this budget, you'll see in there that I did offer a hybrid position, new position that I think is needed, that where we're being stretched to be able to serve our youth population, we have to have, I've been around long enough to know what you have to operate. We have to have that we used to have the city working with us, and we lost a couple staff that here nor there, but in the end, it impacts how you do things. That these three right here, mainly the one right behind me, can tell you that the stretching of what we do, goes through that. But with that being said, what we're working with Parks and Rec, some things that impacted our budget this year, we had the increase in minimum wage. That obviously is something that we can't control. Retirement we can't control. Things to that matter that aside from that, at Camp Hollis, for example, Zach has done a great job with continuing the program out there. He's almost at capacity for campers. He has rentals almost every weekend, including he has some now going in the off season, running out of school camps in the off season, and then that's the continued development of the property. That's where we need to go. Legends Fields currently, They're up there right now operating on expanding Field 5, which we all know will serve our varsity age high school population that, again, listening to the people of the county, that's the need that has to be out there. We're also in this budget looking to make improvements at Legends that need to be done. The infrastructure is 30 plus years old. There's some lighting upgrades that need to be done, as well as some work within the main building out there that has all been built into this budget. Camp Zerby, we continue to grow with that. Again, that out of season, but we still have our maintenance people up there working on developing the disc golf course, getting the facility winterized for the year, although, as Kyle can tell you, that the way we operate, you have a Red Bull up there tomorrow, correct? At Zerby. So we're maximizing the amount of time that we can get out of the facilities going forward with that. We propose new additional ideas on how to make more income up there, more revenue. Our camp up there is pretty close to capacity as well in the summer.
Yeah, we grew this year, actually exceeded.
So the growth is happening to where we are. Independence Trail is something, I know Legislator Scanlon was out there this spring helping us to put stone down and clean up out to Camper Independence Trail, where we're developing that property to again serve the community and meet the needs of what they ask us to do. When I say that, I know my other staff is kind of laughing because a lot of times they're asked to do things to make it happen. But to give you an idea, all our goals, of our revenue lines that we needed to hit, Camp House and Legends hit their revenue goals. Camp Zerby, we're hoping to get there. Like I said, we still have a couple things out there, and we're very close to do so. And going off of that, we've set up other lines of what we project to do and how we're going to get there is all clearly spelled out. We are growing, and that being said, the need in this thing is growing as well. And people have mentioned North Country many times. Camp Zerby is an asset just sitting there, and we're looking to develop that. And when I say that hybrid position, Kyle is Camp Zerby. So if Kyle needs to be Camp Zerby, it's 40 minutes away. If I need to be a Legends, it's really stretching it. And then if Zach has to do it, because like as a staff of two, I don't think I'm breaking any rules, but Kyle's got you know what you got going about?
Oh, yeah, torn labrum, so I'm having surgery tomorrow.
I didn't say he did. Point being is he's okay, but he'll be down. If this was July or August, I'd be in trouble because then I'd have Zach to do that. So I'm projecting that what I'm looking at with that position, and I want to tell you with that, with my budget for Parks and Recreation, with everything I just told you, what I'm adding, I had ARPA money in there. $58,000 is no longer there. I'm $37,000 higher than last year. You take out that ARPA money, I'm negative. I've got a zero less budget than what I projected last year. I can't control that. So what I guess what I'm saying is I'm projecting lines to increase my revenue. I'm keeping my costs out. Could I do more if I asked for more? I could, but I'm doing what I can do. Phil's giving me great direction, and I'm trying to balance that within there. But I guess what I'm saying with Parks and Rec, we're doing an awful lot with less than what we could do. And I think that's part of my proposal is I've asked my staff, they're a great collaborative team. We're a small staff, but they work well together. And this group right here, I'm very proud of the work they do. And I give them goals. I think we meet all the time. We set ourselves out there, what could we do better? And we just go out. We never settle for what we did. As my parks guys can tell you, I congratulate what they did, and then we look at what didn't we do well, and how do we fix that right now? We're like, no, they walk away from it, whatever. You know what I mean? But we get it. We all work together, and we understand they're both competitive people like me, and they want to put the best product out there too. When you deal with kids, that's important because you are expected to provide not only a service, but to protect those kids. And I'll tell you, the workforce we live in today, Zach could probably tell you, you hire a lot of older kids, like 18 to 20s per camp, and that can be stressful. And with that being said, that's where I feel we're putting together a budget that will put out a product and put out a safe product and a product that people are looking for. And that's what my parks budget is for. That's Parks and like I said, Zach and Tyler here, if you have any parks questions, I might be able to answer. Tiffany knows every dollar we spend, so she can tell you how that works too.
I just have one request. I hope you can go after those lights out there because they've got them all throughout the city now with LED lights that they're using for street lights. I gotta believe that's saving the city a ton of money here in Oswego. So that can only help you down the road with that, the budget for utility.
We have, the county hired a, Bill, I think it started with Wendell, was it Wendell?
Yes.
So they hired a group who's studying infrastructure, and that includes the likes of Legends and what's the best way to proceed, because there's not a cheap quick fix. And we also have the grant writers, the counties that have, and they continue to monitor grants that are out there. We have tirelessly talked to National Grid and everybody out there to try to go about where it is to, again, Zach can probably tell you, I think he himself or our maintenance man basically almost locked up the lighting system to do not touch, almost like stay off. Everything you can think of, do not touch these lights till May 1st. Because right now, the cost of those is expensive, but I have built in my budget to get May through October running those lights. This year, Kyle worked with the men's softball program to come back and use Legend during time periods when people weren't using it. And I'll tell you that right there, that right there paid for a month of lights by them coming and being up there. So yeah, they used the fields, but they paid for the lights by doing so. And Champions was still also operating at that time, so lights were being used. And from what we found out, and correct me if I'm wrong, as soon as we turn those lights on one time in the month, we're on the hook.
$4,000.
That's the cost. Everything else is nothing. It's not bad. So if Champions used it October 1st, I don't care if softball played 4 weeks up there after that, because cost is already there, and they paid for it basically by being up there. They would like to work with us in the future to again be up there during times when Champions or school districts or our programming is not happening up there, and that's revenue that comes in. And again, it meets the need of people in our community who want to play softball up there. Many of us played softball in Oswego over the years, and let's be honest, you go up to Legends and you get to play on the turf. It's like going to Yankee Stadium. I mean, it's a beautiful facility to be able to use. So we always are looking. Our ear is always open. We continue to tweak things from time to time. Next month, you're going to see me come to you about some costs that for 2026 to look at for pricing. It is for me to offer you, hey, this is what National Grid is doing. This is what minimum wage is doing. I want to put this out there. This is what I recommend we do if we want to stay even far and not go into the respective side of things. But we're pretty full. We're in, like I said, Legends was being used, for example, all the way up until last week. Last Sunday?
Yeah.
Last Sunday. So, Hollis was being used, still being used. Zerby's, like I said, there's a rental tomorrow. Our facilities we don't shut them down until we have to, and people understand that, like Kyle told them, if you're at Zerby tomorrow, there's no heat. You understand that, and they understand that. They still want to have their event there. So this budget, I think, is a good put together budget that we work with as a team to make happen.
Very good. Any other questions? Go ahead, Richard.
Legends Complex, is $5,000 going to be enough to maintain the buildings and everything up there?
Like I said, I could always do more, but that's
not what I asked you.
Right. So we survive on. We do what we have to. I'm creatively, if I have to move money within my budget, I do so. So yeah. Well, that's yes.
All right, then back on 115, the first line, repairs and maintenance equipment. $500 to maintain and repair. You've got some pretty nice equipment up there, actually.
That's Zerby.
Yeah, Zerby, I'm sorry. And $500 doesn't do much maintenance.
It gets us through. It gets us through what we have to do. Again, being that we're Parks and Rec, we are creative. So if I have to move things from Hollis or Legends to Zerby if need be, I do that. So this is the budget that we propose that we can get by on, that we can work with. And if I need to make an adjustment, I will. So, for example, right now, National Grid bills were higher than anticipated. I didn't come to the legislature and ask for money. I found it within my working budget where maybe we saved some money this year. So if we didn't have to max out on all our food costs, I'll move money from one line to another. So in other words, at the end of the day, I'm not wasting money for the county, but I'm finding it within my working budget to make it happen.
One more question, maybe I missed this, or I didn't understand it. Cass, Hollis, you had all these salaries and wages and all these people like that, what's, they're all zeroed out, we're not gonna use the camp, or not?
Exactly.
It's in the,
So if you look at
move
the
to a
next
different line.
page, flip to the next page of the budget, where you see the 194,828.
Yeah.
All of those
You didn't break
positions,
it down.
it's not broken down because when we lose staff, it's harder to assign them to a position number. Instead, we had it all in one lump sum, so it's just easier for HR and us to pay the staff.
So all those staff you see are also the staff we're hiring, but for the county's system on how they would like it to work. Like I said, when you're working with young adults who, after 2 weeks working at work, say, hey, I'm done, and you have to bring somebody else on, it's easier to fill it this way through HR than to have to recreate all new numbers and things to go about it. So it's more an internal thing. I don't feel like we ought to it differently.
That's an HR thing.
That's an HR thing.
Yeah, they said, let's do it this way.
It's
Okay.
easier for HR. But those positions you see are the positions.
Yeah, but those positions, they'll be filling this whole along.
Oh, yeah, it just all sits in that one line
yeah,
instead.
and that's between,
They're gonna vary probably somewhat in hours and things like that.
yeah, we got our summer staff in there, we have nursing in there, we have off-season staff for rentals, off-season for events and stuff. It's now just all in one, everything.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I also said impacts that bottom line for me is not only like retirement and things for maybe like say Zach or Kyle and Parks, but also minimum wage that my staff for summer is probably one of the departments in the county that minimum wage impacts. So if the state has a plan in place to increase it with the 50 cents every year, every couple of years I come to you guys at the ledge and say, this is what I'm dealing with, so that you can make a decision as opposed to if I do nothing after 5 years, you could be looking at like a $20,000 increase. That, like, wow. So I try to address it every 2 years. And by that, with offsetting some costs from camper fees, like raising them $5, or rental fees, raising them maybe $20, that pays for that minimum wage increase.
Kurt,
I know they had to do repair work on the lodge, and I was told that was gonna start this week. It start.
My understanding per Rick, it has, but I have not been out there to check myself, but yes, that was what I was
I talked to him, he said it's gonna start.
He told me before the snow flies, so.
It's too late
It's
there.
already done that.
Sorry, so.
But that, it would be, there are certain things, like we talked about basketball hoops, that I cannot, so that we have to rely on buildings and grounds or highway. So in that case, that would be, if Rick tells you that, that's what it has to be. Because we can't, there's only certain, like, so I have a very small staff, and I don't think you want conflict.
No.
Cap wouldn't like it.
We don't like them using the copier.
How did the Frisbee golf go this year? Let's start. Do you have any tournaments or anybody using that?
We didn't run anything formally this year, but we did have foot traffic coming in and out, especially from the guys who helped install. They had a lot of advice. We saw a lot of people coming in and out, even through the camp season. We were out there for summer camp. Yes, traffic from.
We did recently purchase new Frisbees so that we have them on hand for people if they want to come and try it out. And then for 2026, like I said, with that staffing thing, that new position that I'm looking at, the hybrid position, part of that would be that additional person that can help with those things. Because without me making this sound really bad, Kyle or Zach may work, I don't want to say the numbers, but beyond where they should be on a given week based on their needs. For Zach in the summer, camp starts on a Sunday for him. So mathematically, he works Sunday through Friday, it's going to exceed his hours. But figure out where it goes. Kyle could be at Legends Field till 11 o'clock at night. So unless he's going to do nothing during the day and come in later, it's very difficult. So that's why I need that other person. So hey, if they want to go run a Frisbee golf league at at Zerby, I can do that without interrupting what Kyle's doing or what Zach's doing. And that's the whole complex to it. We've been asked to, New York State's got this new program, the Empire State Leadership Network. That would be a collaboration between Youth Bureau, DSS, probation, and the schools. We'd like to take the lead on that. Tiffany would like to be a part of that, do that. But again, with time being stretched, that position would take part of Tiffany's workload as well. So we can invest in what we see Oswego County needs to grow and to better. That's an opportunity, but currently it's a stretch. So if I say Tiffany, hey, you got to go do that, she's going to look at me and just look, and I know she's doing it right now, but I'm okay. And that's where it is. So that's, again, a piece of it. And I'll cover that once I get to Youth Bureau. But these are things that, like I feel, like I said, and I can tell you how many years I've been here, it's in the high 20 number. This is what we have to do to keep growing with expectations. It's a plus.
Yeah. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried on, it passes. Okay.
Bureau. All right, so Youth Bureau,
Page 119.
so Youth Bureau, part of that is made up, it's, I know that legislator Klein has asked, sometimes there are other funding out there. We have other funding streams that we receive from New York State. We have YDP money, we have, obviously, like you said, you did a definition. YDP, youth sports, YSDF, YPS, RHY. We have different funding streams that we receive, and for the most part, they have increased for 2026 for state level. So everything that we base our Youth Bureau on, a lot of that comes from there. We're able to collaborate, as we talked about before, with Sydney, with Healthy Growth. That's a program we're able to invest in for 2026, as well as in education libraries. Both of those are things I can take state money. I don't have the staff to do. I have experts out there. We have experts in Oswego County that can do a great job, and we do so doing that. We have AmeriCorps funding. So for 2026, we wrote a grant for AmeriCorps. You're all familiar with what happened this summer. Everything I read about, said this is where we're at. Good luck going forward. We wrote a grant. Quickest we heard back within a week. Yep, you're being funded for 1 year. We are being funded. It's less money, but it's also, again, one less staff person I get based upon the fact that AmeriCorps will fund the grant. It's $107,000 less, one less staff person, but we will go out there and put a product out there that will serve this community, as you all heard of what the need is for that. So that's part of the Youth Bureau budget, things that are going forward on that. We have working in collaboration with different entities like city BOCES and things to that matter. Internally, we're doing a lot of programming. I talked about the new one. Tiffany and Zach both run the Leadership Oswego County Youth Program. Kyle runs the YLA program. Those are examples of things that we're continuously doing within house within the Youth Bureau. And going back to that one position, that would help with that. I would like to say it's very proud to say this. We're going forward. I don't know how much you're going to hear this week. But my youth bureau budget, with everything I just told you, including that position I'm really begging you for, is $6,000 less than my budget last year. So I'm $6,000 less than 2025 and 2026. Going back to your question, could I use that money? Sure I could, but I also know the situation the county's in, and I have been taught well from Phil to do with what you can do and how you can do it, and I worked really hard with Phil on that. I think this is a good budget that we put forward. We've made some good decisions, and I think this is where we are.
Any questions on it? Yeah. 85. Second.
So our budget, the revenue sources are stable. We do account for a 2.5% annualized target inflationary increase. Formally known as COLA, that's how it's got the state sources. The majority, over 90% of the expenses in the budget are supporting contracted services in the community. So the rest of the, beyond that, is our small team supporting the staff salaries and our operating expenses. We do have one section and the other one that's vacant is one of the biggest changes requesting positions, two minimum services area positions, service coordinator to community specialist and community services program coordinator to higher position time. So we've been moving the current rate structure is $350 per exam. Covers the cost of 2 psychiatrists. And if potential regulatory that rate has not been adjusted since years or better. So that contributes to patients from their communities. So this, the new structure